Hey there everybody, it's Luke from Team Copperhead, and we just beat Endgame. So for this fight with Endgame, Endgame, one of the best robots of all time, we knew we had to come up with something crazy to beat them. Endgame has some of the best ground game you could ever have in BattleBots. They got a million different attachments, so we were pretty worried. So what are we gonna do? So the night before this fight, we were trying to scramble for strategies. So we went to the pub, we were having drinks with all the other builders, and we're just kind of spitballing some ideas. And we came up with this wacky idea of purposely spinning down. It's really unconventional strategy. So we asked a couple builders, we turned to Ray Billings, we're like, Ray, what do you think about that? Ray didn't think it was a good idea. We turned to Brian Nave, and he's like, well, maybe that's actually maybe a good idea. With both weapons coming together like that, it's a mega impact, and it's much more energy than most robots can take. We went for it. When you fight a robot like Endgame, you gotta come up with some crazy strategies. We knew if we played it safe, we wouldn't win. So we had to do something crazy, and spinning down it was. So in the beginning of the fight, we went head to head. We were spun up, they were spun up, but Endgame has such an incredible ground game, our forks weren't able to get underneath them. We drove right up Endgame, we went weapon on weapon, and they definitely got those first couple encounters. Copperhead went tumbling through the air. We must have done maybe 1,000 flips. It did not look good for us at the beginning of the fight. But sure enough, right during the second major impact, we were upside down, we were fully spun up, they were fully spun up. We drove right into each other, and we completely destroyed Endgame's weapon. What ended up happening is the bearings inside of Endgame's weapon just completely exploded, rendering their weapon useless for the rest of the fight. So after that, it was just free pickings for Copperhead. Endgame has the whole piano key setup, and by the end of the fight, there were no more piano keys. There was no more orange on the front of that robot. We took off every little bit and piece, and a lot of that just went flying into the ceiling. We must have broke 10 lights. There was glass everywhere. It was glorious. So even though we had disabled Endgame's weapon, they were still extremely aggressive. All the electronical parts inside of Endgame were still essentially functioning. Endgame has an incredible drive system, and they were still pushing us around, which was a little unnerving. But yeah, we were still dishing out some major hits. We got to see Endgame use their self-rider. We had never seen that before. But then right in the last 10 seconds of the fight, we got one more hit on them, and they landed right on their face and weren't able to self-right. So then we got some time to do some victory dancing, show off the gyro dancing that Copperhead can do, and it was just overall an incredible match for us. We couldn't have been more pleased. So the fight went to the judge's decision, but we were feeling pretty darn good. Chad New, our weapons operator, he got super excited. He ran through the crowd chanting Copperhead, Copperhead, and everyone was just cheering for us. The energy was super high. So we were feeling pretty good. And sure enough, it went to the judge's decision. It was unanimous. At that point, we knew we had won it. And then it was time to celebrate. So we took down Endgame. I don't think anybody had really expected us to win that fight. We've seen other people's brackets, and nobody had us beating Endgame. So now that we've beaten Endgame, now it's time for Riptide. Riptide this season has just been annihilating robots in a very convincing fashion. And a lot of their fights have always had some kind of controversy, but you can't deny that Riptide is an incredible robot and extremely powerful. So going into this next fight, we knew it was going to be a doozy. Yeah, so I mean, a lot of our team captains did not think that we were going to win this fight against Endgame.
Let's go!